Sui Crypto is really exploding to the upside, like massively. But is it overvalued right now? We've got to think of the pennies. We've got to think of when we invest. Do we buy at a premium or is it at a discount? And I think right now, this is a topic we need to address. And psychologically, I know you're probably wanting to comment on this video thinking this is a load of bollocks, but ultimately, I know that that will trigger emotion. I think this is a solid asset. Do I think it's overvalued right now? Yes, it's 18.1 billion full dilution with emissions coming. So we need to explain it all in terms of why more and more people are now talking about it. So here we are, CoinMarketCap. If you're new around here, by the way, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It means an awful lot for you to be here. But it's the first time I've talked about this on my channel, and I do rate it. If you're in my Patreon, Discord, or you're learning crypto, it's been a pretty hot topic for a while, certainly for traders, and it's doing all right. However, if you're an investor and all of a sudden now you've came across it, you are falling into the path of the greed emotion where literally it's been going up and up and up. And you may not see it on this chart, certainly from October the 9th, but that's only giving you a day kind of metric. If we go to the 7-day chart, it's looking a bit more better. Monthly chart, you can see it has been growing quite massively, but it also has had a growth spurt like this before, and it's also had a very big correction. We will do technical analysis on this, don't worry. But we need to talk about that corner, this full dilution value. It's currently sitting ranked with only 27.64% of their token supply out at $5 billion. For some people, that's all right. But the full dilution is what we've got to look at. There's still a lot more tokens to come out. Volume-wise, it's down 6%, but its volume is 11th highest in the entire industry. It's going through a little bit of a hype spurt, and that's good to see. However, we've got to look at the bigger picture. What is happening? Well, everyone is really excited about it and showing these horrible emotions and getting you all in. This coin is unprecedented, a massive opportunity. Really? It's just on a massive move, mate. You know, that's the element here, right? Now, some people disagree. To buy a coin, you need to get in a little bit earlier than this, right? To a lot of people, they may find that it may well go up, and I openly admit that. This may well go higher. But are the returns really going to change your life? For this to do, like, let's just say, for example, if it wants to double its value, that would make it in line with Solana full dilution value prices, which is pretty high, right? Will it go higher than Solana? Maybe. But we've seen this before, and I'll show you in the technical analysis. In the first cycle, they get inflated numbers. Near Protocol is a great example, and I will show you this. Solana is also a great example of this with the high dilution of the tokens, right? The emissions are important, but what the problem we have right now, it's hyped up, and we all know this. Pricing and the price is the best marketing. Best marketing by far, right? 100%. So let's look at what else is happening. This has got that much price information and action. It's on FX Street, for example, right? Which is more on with the fact of the foreign exchange market, showcasing the technical indicators of a bearish divergence. I will come on to that because there is one showing on the Learning Crypto indicator, right? The reality is that, right, as I've alluded to it, there's a big problem. Has it moved too quickly? Will it catch you out? Will people sell? What about the token emissions? Will the key opinion leaders, or will obviously the VCs start to sell? Potentially. So you've got to be mindful of that, right? So as I've alluded to before, I like it. It's fine. It's a good ecosystem. It's probably going to be a very, very dominant one. It's probably in line with the likes of me holding near and stuff like that. But ultimately, as I say, it has risen quite a lot, and the opportunity to buy this is probably not even anywhere near where I would like to buy it if I was to buy it. I'm not going to buy it, by the way. But in terms of a psychological output for this video, and I think most people know me for being a little bit more in line with the psychological stuff of the market and looking at the news and trying to get an idea. And you've got to think opposite to everyone else to kind of win in some ways, right? And a lot of people who are buying this after a massive move, there's a big chance you could lose here. Considering the correction it's had, considering the blow up it's had, and even the consolidation before it, you're late, right? Why would you want to invest right now? You need to wait for it to cool off, and we're going to go through that. But in terms of the partnerships and what they're aiming to achieve, it's really good. If you want to just go on, like, most articles on websites and stuff are a bit noddy, but what I found with this, it's actually really easy to digest. So I recommend you doing some research on it at least, so you get a bit of a better picture. And the reality is here, this could do a lot of things, and it's pretty good, right? As I say though, maybe time to buy is not that one today. Let's be honest here. So let's talk about emissions and why this is important to look at, right? So currently 28% of it is unlocked, give or take, right? And when we talk about the emissions, its circulating supply, as I say, it's quite low. It's roughly, it's only a small percentage. When we talk about what's going to happen, it's going to slowly, over the next few years, bleed tokens. And it's going to happen for quite a while, right? That's the reality of it. And when we talk about the emissions per day, you can see what's coming out. It's a lot of money, right? It's here. Per day, you are literally looking at 8.27 million linear log. So it's coming out every day. Crazy, right? That is somewhat of a problem. And you can see this here. Look at that. For 90 days, 1.18 million per day. And the next event's coming up soon. So that's the thing. The reality is here, it's pretty rough in terms of that. And when the price does go down, it's going to get interesting. But another thing as well, one of the main reasons why this is doing well is because the tokens aren't out. As I say, a lot of the tokens, it's scarcity, right? If there's less tokens in circulation, it's like Bitcoin, right? The scarcity factor comes in. So that is why we've seen in the past with Solana, it did really well. Market cap was a lot lower than where it is today, right? More tokens. Same with the protocol. It went to $20 in the previous cycle, but the market cap was very, very similar to what it is right now. Absolute mental, but once you get your head around it, you'll understand it. So let's look at other metrics. The altcoin season metric, alt season, right? This is a very simple website, blockchaincenter.net, and the best performing asset over the last 90 days, the top 50 assets over the last 90 days is this. It's up 145% versus Bitcoin. That is telling you it's probably at a massive premium, right? Again, same with Bit and Saw, Dog with Hat, Aave, Phantom. They've all done incredibly well, but they probably will do a correction at some point. The market does go up, bit down. There's market makers, there's people that will sell, and there'll be people that bought at much lower levels that will take this opportunity to sell because of the liquidity. What's happening? The liquidity is returning. Why is it returning? Because YouTubers are talking about it. They're telling you to buy it. No, don't buy it. Wait. I'm going to do the opposite here. Wait. And see what opportunities come. And sometimes people say this and I don't get it. Some people go and just buy and ape into things. And often you find that they lose. If they're aping at the best time, it's usually when no one's looking. And people are like, why are you doing that? But if you're aping in at a potential top, it's very, very risky. And you may not win. You got to put them probability lines all in a row and see what is happening. Is it good to do this? What is the probability like? Am I going to make money? Where is my target for profit taking? All that kind of stuff. And when you get YouTubers just talk about it, most of the time, like myself today, is doing it to kind of get some new traction to the channel. Most of these people, oopsie, just booted the microphone. Most of these people, they're not going to be doing anything about it. All I'm telling you is maybe look at the price. Maybe think, you know what? Let's just wait. And sometimes, as I say, the best trade you'll ever make is the one that you don't do, because who likes to lose money? The probability of losing money is a little bit on the high side for me right now. So let's look at this move. That's it in fine grained detail. It's pretty savage, right? We've got the 3-day chart on the right. We've got the 1 day on the left, right? We'll go on the 1 day first, just to kind of give you an idea. Now, it has had a massive move. It's broken out of a channel and it's fucked off, right? In terms of the indicator, this is on Learning Crypto. Check out the links below. You get this in the Traders Lounge. It's a very, very good indicator for momentum. It's based off the RSI. There's a various divergence there. It's showing a few of them. It's not looking good. Now, when we talk about, the impulse of a move, if you're going to go from the low to the high, we've done 187% move in a matter of, hold on a minute, let's get the correct data, in 34 days, give or take around that point, right? 34 days, give or take from the low, 35 days. That's pretty good. But reality is, we've got to look for an area for this to come down to. The trend won't last forever. Things will go down because look, history tells us this. We've had a massive run and we've also had a massive, we literally gave back the entire of those gains back in the past. this might well happen again. And as much as people go, well, there's a bull market on up to October and all that kind of stuff, but the reality is, what if we correct? What if we go and look at previous key levels and we go back down to the 160s, the 145s, or even the 120 levels, which isn't too far away realistically, because often you find with a massive expansion, you will get a big correction. And it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if we see a 40% correction here. And for that 40% correction to then continue going higher, it's all about the timing. I'm not saying that this is going to stop here. It probably will go higher than $2.16, but it's literally stopped at the prior all-time highs. Why? You've got to ask yourself that question. Why has it stopped there? Well, probably people are unloading. There's going to be a distribution. You've got to buy when the market is telling you a better price, basically, right? So if you're going to put buy orders in, and we're going to look at the BTC pair as well in a second, you've got to kind of look at previous levels. Now, for me, this looks like a strong level. This area here, this level here could be of huge interest because it's been that in the past. Again, the same with this 50% mark here, the 145. A lot of resistance and support there. That could well be a really good area to look at, but you got to look at the expansion. It's huge. And obviously, that's just a Fibonacci. You can look at prior levels of structure. If you want a bit of a tip, go to the line chart and look to see where you've got a lot of closures and a lot of interest in and around areas. Plot them. There's an obvious level here, for example. Psychological round numbers could well be a very big factor, but you just don't know where the price is going to go. Try not to get caught up in the emotions of it. It's the hardest part of it, right? So, that being said, put your chart at a point and look for areas. For me, that looks like a really nice level where liquidity could be found. Just saying. Might not always happen, but ultimately, if you are buying these tops, cool. But the areas to buy was when things were changing, when the change of character was happening with the trends, right? For example, we had an impulse. We had a change of character up here. It failed twice. And then it continued going down. But actually what happened here, we created a lower high at this level of support. This area here wouldn't have been a bad time to buy, considering if months ago you were thinking, I want to buy this, ooh, and it melted, oh, fucking hell, it's shit. Many people would have gave up on it down here, 100%. Now people want to be back into it. It's crazy how the market moves, right? Another thing, as I've alluded to it, right? Let's just go on to here, the BTC pair, right? Let's look to see what's happening with the BTC pair. Huge. This is having a massive run. And I often talk about it. It's very hard to get returns in the BTC pair. And this has delivered a 3, nearly 4x in the BTC pair. You've got to look at this pair as well, right? For me, a much different movement point. Obviously, Bitcoin in this time period hasn't moved much, and this really has, as you know, I've told you before, the Blockchain Center website, it has overperformed massively versus BTC. But now you got to look at where this could go. What about an area down here that it could easily fall into, right? Again, when we look at all these roundy number areas and places of like potential liquidity, you've got to look at where the premiums are, and the premiums are much higher. Where's the demand? Going to be obviously much lower, right? People are genuinely buying this, and it is still in an uptrend on this, but again, we've got divergences on the daily time frame. It's not looking good, but as I say, the risk is in the knowledge, and if you can get a 23% correction or even a 36% correction, it could be pretty good. And what about the Fibonacci from this entire sequence of runs? It kind of marries up very nicely in terms of the 50%. Even the 618 all the way to, I think that'll be unlikely, but personally, people may well bid on it, and they could well work. So you've got to be very mindful of it. But yeah, high time frames as well, we've got to look at. There's a potential, I'll show you. There's a potential here for a divergence up here. It's currently red right now, or amber, saying potential. So it could be developing a divergence, but this is absolutely parabolic. And as I've alluded to it, we've already had a big massive spike. It melted. Are we going to continue going down? But what about if this is, right, literally a lower high? What about if this is a lower high, and if we're going to go on the 786, it is hit the 786, and normally a 786 is an indication of a trend reversal, and that isn't looking good, right? So what if it is going to pull back into these areas? And yes, it could form a lower high and go in. This could be a massive one wave, huge wave, going back into these levels and continue going higher. The hype is there. The hype is good. But if you're an investor and it's the first time you've ever mentioned or thought about it, and the only reason why you want to buy it is because of this big move, that isn't the right answer. That isn't enough for you to go, I want to buy this. Why should I buy this? Oh, because it's doing great. It's the best thing to slice bread. No. And let me talk about NIA. So I said before, Near Protocol, and even Solana, right, is a really good example of this. Prior cycle. Now, prior cycle, as I've alluded to it, less supply was out, right? This was the BTC pair, less supply, a lot more craziness and dominance, right? Again, Solana was exactly the same. Solana, that big move, by the way, is a very, very big move, as I say, 6x. But the previous cycle did a lot more. But the price is totally different. Its market cap is much higher. Why? Let me explain. Oh, God, let me go on to this. So when we look at Solana, right? On here, we go market cap. We go all. And this was, what, $250 all-time high, give or take, around that number, was it? Let me just, yeah, $260 on the 6th of November, which is about here, right, give or take. That's the 8th of November. $75 million. Now, obviously, the price is $139. And what's happening right now? Well, we're all the way up here, right? Why? Token supplies change. Circulating supplies increased. Near Protocol, exactly the same. So, yes, people are like, oh, but Solana could go and hit whatever numbers. Yeah, of course it can. But ultimately, its fully diluted value is 81 billion. So, for Sui to do that, essentially, it has to do like, what, 4x from here? 4x, it's already done that big massive run. I find that extraordinary that you've missed out on most of those gains, right? Why would you try? Like, for me, that just doesn't seem like the risk worth taking. Near Protocol, as I've alluded to it, seems like a really good example too, and it is, because their full dilution is pretty much there. They're fully out, which is good to see. Market cap, go to all. And again, prior all-time highs of $20, it was a 12.4 billion, right? It's $4.60 now. It looks like fair value, but ultimately, their valuation is, for it to double in price. So basically, it's going to go to like what, $8, $9, and it will be the same market cap. Yet it went to $21, its all-time high. So you're going to be very, very mindful of that. Near, fantastic opportunity in terms of potential runs to the upside. But where does the market cap go? Well, that's the thing. You are betting on Sui to do very well, and it's already, right now, an $18 million market cap in full dilution terms. Realistically, you need that to cool off a little bit. So, hopefully that helps you. Don't get lost in the moment and don't get absolutely caught out. But yeah, good asset, but realistically, it's probably going to cool off a little bit.